my balls.
What did you say?
I'm sorry. Actually, what I said was, how would you like to suck my balls?
Wow, another Bulls video and another weird intro. I don't know. I'm trying to find different ways to say, oh my god, the Bulls front office is f***ing incompetent, in a creative way. I've been saying it the normal way, and it still hasn't gotten me anywhere. I'll let you know how this works out for me. Anyways, I'm making another Bulls video. The last one I did very well, thanks for that. That video is 8 minutes long, but I wrote a script for about a 13-minute video. 5 of those minutes were ranting about the Bulls front office, Gar Forman, and John Paxson. And it's because of their incredible incompetence. Now, if you watched my last Bulls video, I agreed with the idea of trading Jimmy Butler, but for one thing, I think the Bulls took a lesser trade than what they were offered in the past. They can pretend this is the best package that they were gonna get, but we both know that's not true. The Bulls very well could have had the Brooklyn pick at the trade deadline for the Celtics, but they kept asking for Jay Crowder as well. That's just what a rebuilding team needs. A late 20s vet who pretty much is an average starter. Not getting that is clearly a reason not to take a pick that at the time potentially could have been the first pick and eventually did become the first pick. So the Bulls could have had Markelle Fultz instead of Zach LaVine and Lauri Markkanen, who are both question marks, with Fultz being pretty much a clear-cut superstar. So there is just one of many mistakes, but being just bad at your job is one thing. We've all ordered a chicken sandwich with no mayo and gotten back a chicken sandwich with mayo. It's not the end of the world. At the end of the day, as much as I love it, it is just basketball. Garpax don't deal with life and death issues, which is good because we'd all be dead if they did. But they're not just bad at their job. There have been a few reports of the front office being threatening to players and coaches. The biggest of these, back in 2015, Jimmy Butler was making a clear case for most improved player, averaging 20 points per game out of nowhere, going from a brick house on offense to a great scorer. Because of this, at the contract extension deadline, when Garpax offered less than the max, he repeatedly turned it down because he knew what he was worth. Instead of being mature and professional, Garpax decided to threaten Jimmy. They told him if he did not sign this contract, that they would start Tony Snell over him. Yeah, Tony Snell, the career scrub who was averaging 6 points on average shooting that season, who just this season finally carved out a decent spot in the NBA. They threatened to start him over Jimmy Butler, who had just played his first All-Star game. Jimmy ignored this threat and refused to sign the contract. So Garpax go to Tom Thibodeau, the coach of the Bulls that season, and they asked him to start Snell over Butler. Tibbs told them to eat shit and die. At least that's what I hope he said. Him refusing to bench Butler really pissed them off. Onto the playoffs that year, the Bulls looked the best they have looked post Derrick Rose injury. They beat the Bucks in 6 games as they won Game 6 fairly convincingly with a stupidly good performance. Then they went on to the next round. They faced the Cavs. The Bulls won Game 1. The Cavs won Game 2, the Bulls won Game 3 on a crazy game winner from Derrick Rose. Then the Cavs won Game 4 on some crazy BS, where David Blatt called a timeout when they had none late in the fourth, which should have gave the Bulls 2 free throws and possession, and would have won them the game. But the refs just ignored this and proceeded to basically give the Cavs a timeout by reviewing an out-of-bounds play that was pretty indisputable. Then LeBron hit a game winner. Then the Cavs win the next 2 games. Could have went up 3-1 and beat the Cavs and then beat the Hawks in the conference finals, which I think they would have. Now, they would have been destroyed by the Warriors in the finals, but still. This team was that good. In the offseason, the Bulls management fires Tom Thibodeau for making the terrible coaching decision to start an all-star over a scrub. Then the steaming pile of dog shit that is Fred Hoiberg was hired. The Bulls missed the playoffs, and then this year they make it and lose to the Celtics. And here we are now with Jimmy Butler being traded. Yes, the reports of that happening have not been 100% confirmed, but I do believe it happened. The idea that the front office is full of incompetent, threatening jackasses is only further exemplified when you see this tweet from Jimmy Butler's trainer after Butler was fired. This guy had an inside look into the Bulls front office situation, and he called them immoral and liars. Now back to some basketball mistakes, let's look at the draft. Now, I'll admit, both Butler and Taj Gibson were great late round picks, but outside of that, in 2012 the Bulls drafted Marquise Teague to hopefully be the backup point guard of the team when Rose returned. You know who they passed on? Draymond Green. Now I know he was a second round pick, it's hard to call that, but both the Bulls head scout and Tom Thibodeau said that they should draft Draymond. Garpax ignored this and took Teague. Now Green, he's a two-time champion and all-star, and a two-time defensive first-team player and a one-time defensive player of the year. And he's a key part of the Warriors' success, a team that has a stranglehold on the league for a foreseeable future. Teague, well, he once averaged 3 points per game on the Nets, and he hasn't been in the NBA since 2014. Okay. The 2014 draft, how did that go? Well, with the 16th pick they got in a trade with the Hornets, they draft Yusuf Nurkic. With the 19th pick, they take Gary Harris, but they end up trading both of these picks for Doug McDermott. And to be fair, Doug was considered a great shooter coming out of college, but he had a low ceiling. But you know who's a better shooter than Doug McDermott? Gary Harris, the guy they traded for him. Now, Doug has had a better career percentage as Garris had a really bad rookie season, but in the 2016-17 season, Doug shot 36% from 3, while Harris shot 42%. On top of that, Harris is a much better athlete, scorer, playmaker, and a much better defender. And Nurkic, well, he averaged 15, 10, and 2 blocks after finally getting minutes in Portland. In 2015, the Bulls took Bobby Portis over Larry Nance Jr., Portis a scrub over Nance, a super athlete with high basketball IQ. Those are just draft mess-ups. In free agency last year, they let go of Joakim Noah and Pau Gasol, a move I agreed with. But they then proceeded to get younger and more athletic by signing a 34-year-old Dwayne Wade and a 30-year-old Rajon Rondo, two awful shooters at the latter stages of their career. In a league where pace and space is preached like the gospel, the Bulls further delayed a rebuild, and at the deadline, their incredibly smart trade was to essentially trade Doug McDermott, the Bulls' only shooter, along with Taj Gibson, the Bulls' only consistent player, for a flaming pile of shit, I mean Cameron Payne, a dick with nails in it, I mean Joffrey Laverne, and an inside-out anus, I mean Anthony Morrow. Yeah, the Bulls front office is about as incompetent as it gets. So incompetent, in fact, that now that we're rebuilding and they should be trying to suck, the front office is looking to sign veterans, so apparently they also suck at sucking. I'm confident that this team will go nowhere until these two incompetent gobshites are fired. That's the end of this video. Please be sure to like and subscribe for more NBA content like this, and cue the outro music.
I dare you play your cards, boy, you bet I'm a trendsetter too. Fire when the strobe hits you.
That's it, Brian?
Yes.